Hi guys, it's Kerri-Ann and I'm here today with a card making tutorial for you. So this card is using the solid stamps by Claire and the stencil by myself. And the first thing I'm going to do is bring in my stamping platform, because when you're using the big solid stamps, it's really helpful if you've got the pressure of a stamping platform, but also that you've got it in exactly the same space. So if you don't get the full impression first time, you can stamp back over again. It's quite common with solid stamps that it can be difficult to get the perfect impression. So if you've got a stamping platform, then you'll definitely want to get these out for any solid stamps that you've got in your stash. So I'm just inking up with the pale pink of the Versacraft ink to start with, and then I'm going to come in with the darker pink literally just on the edge. So I'm just tapping the edge with the darker pink. I'm not wanting to go towards the centre. And then I'm going to give a good press down and just smooth it down so that I get a nice impression. And there you go, you've got a lovely effect. Now anywhere that you've missed, just come back in, smooth it down, because it's in exactly the same place, so it's not going to bother it. And there we go, I'm happy with that, that's how I wanted it. So as I say, with this card, what I'm aiming for is a sort of a mixed media effect. I want it to be quite a layered up effect, if that makes sense, and you'll see why at the end, because this is actually inspired by one of my art journal pages that I did. This card came about from my art journal because what I do like to do is use my art journal for ideas and then go on to use those ideas to turn them into cards. So what I'm doing here is using the residue of the ink from where I've last done the blending with these pinks here, and I'm just going to start layering up using the circles. So I'm not adding any extra ink, I'm just using the pink that's left over to bring in some circles. And that's the great thing about these sorts of mixed media cards, you can keep layering up and bringing in different textures, and these stencils are brilliant for that, because you've got here on this one you've got the circles, you've got the lines, but you've also got the squares as well, so it's great for building up the texture. I'm just going to come in down here, I think, next. Again, I'm not adding any extra ink, this is just what's left over on the blending sponge. So I'm just randomly placing the stencil. Really, I haven't got any real set plan for where I want it, because the shades will change, as you notice. Can you see the shades changing? Because I'm not adding any extra ink, I'm just blending with the ink left over. There we go, I'm happy with that. So I've got my texture coming into the circle now. I'm going to hold that down and I'm just going to drag the ink in from the edges now, because it creates a sort of a border for me. So I'm just dragging it in to give me a bit of an edge. Okay, so I'm happy with that as the start of the card. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in the lines on this one here, and I'm going to use the darker pink, and I am going to add to the pink that's on the stencil this time because I want it nice and dark, and I'm just going to stroke it through the stencil on these lines here, so it's just there at the bottom, and you'll see there I've got the lines coming through. And then I'm going to do the same, but I'm going to put in slightly more of the lines. The good thing with the lines on this stencil is one side, as you can see, I've done them so that they're different sizes, so they look at different sizes, and the other is all the same, so it depends on the effect that you want to achieve. I'm going to bring that in slightly for this impression and drag it in that way for this one. There we go, so I'm building up my layers as I go. I'm going to bring that one back round to this way. So the next thing I'm going to do is bring in one of Claire's little stamps. So which one am I going to do first? I think I'm going to do this one here first. So this is this one, and I'm going to use the paler of the pink, and I'm just going to stamp out in a random pattern going diagonally down. I just love how these all work together really well, and they sort of build up the design as you go, as you start to layer them together. Now, the reason why I like working with just 2 or 3 shades of a colour. I like monochrome effect. I do like working in colour shades, and I like to stamp and stencil with the same colours, and because you can get some lovely layering. It doesn't over the top stand out, if that makes sense. It's just a nice subtle effect. So then I'm going to come in with this one here, which is that one, and this time I'm going to do it in the brighter pink. So I'm going to ink that up. Again, this is all my Versacraft ones because I wanted a chalky effect. So I'm just inking up and stamping. There we go. So I like that. I'm going to actually put in an extra one just there, I think. So it's dragging it down slightly around there. The next thing I'm going to come in with my sentiment. And this is one of the sentiments from the new Birthday Wishes stamp set, which is going to be on Hochanda on Thursday the 17th of May at 4 o'clock with Claire. We'll be launching her stamp designs, the ones I'm using today, my stencils, and also these sentiments as well. And in this show will also be my butterfly blots, which is the one I'm going to use now. And I'm going to use this in a garnet I think it's called. So it's a different shade again. This is more of a purpley shade. Still in Versacraft Inks. And I'm going to bring this one in just about there. Just like that. Perfect. I'm happy with that. And I'm going to finish, because anyone that knows me knows I'm an absolute tonic addict. I love my crystal drops, my jewel drops and all of that. So I'm just going to finish with a couple of those on here as well. So there we have it. As you can see, a really quick and easy card to make. I'm just using really basic techniques and just 3 cool colour inks really to create that, but I'm really pleased with it. And when you matte and layer it, it looks a little bit like this. So as you can see, you've got just the white border. Give you a quick look at that one so you can see. And here is the page that it was actually inspired by in my art journal. So you can see there how I was inspired to do it. Alright, so it makes a good card and a good art journal page, and all of the product will be available on Hochanda and also on the Imagine Design Create website. But as always, if you've got any questions at all, don't be afraid to ask in the comments, and your support would be much appreciated as well, so do please click subscribe. I try to add as much creative content as I can throughout the week. So yeah, that's my card for today. Happy crafting everyone, and take care.